Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is a spicy one, and it's brought to us by none other than YUKFOOZi himself. That's right, it's another YUKFOOZi. But this deck is Rakdos. It's using the graveyard, and it's kinda wild. This one's called YUKALAMITY. And the idea here is we're using push and pull to bring things back from the graveyard, but we're not just settling for bringing one creature back at a time. No. We're bringing at least two creatures back at a time, and then we're being very careful about exactly what creatures we pick to get maximum value for what we're bringing back, with consideration of the fact that we have to sacrifice those things at end of turn, but they get haste when we bring them back. So there's a ton of workarounds here, a ton of hoops to jump through, but the deck is super solid and does some wild things with the graveyard. So I'm super excited to dig in. Before we talk about the deck, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, hit the buttons, do the thing, the notification, all that. We passed 5,000 subscribers and it's kind of bananas, and now we're a couple hundred more. Everything's just snowballing and going crazy, and I have you guys to thank for that. So if it wasn't for your dedication and you actually caring about the channel and bothering to watch stuff that I'm putting out, we wouldn't be where we're at, and we wouldn't have so many subscribers coming in so quickly. So I appreciate the hell out of that, and I'm going to do my best to kind of keep up with full-time content to sort of, you know, revere and respect the attention you guys have given me and the support you guys have shown me, and make sure that I don't just write that off. I think you guys deserve better from me because of that, and I'm going to do my best to just put out as much as I can and keep this stuff going. So thank you so much for believing me. I'm super excited about it. Also, thank you to all my Patreon members. That's Hector, YUKFOOZi, and Kaylin at the Brew Crew Elite tier, and then Marlack at the Brew Crew tier. Thank you guys for supporting the channel so much, and then of course our forever CPU savior 𝑇ℎ𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ. Also catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Now let's check out this YUKFOOZi YUKBRUZi, because that man is insane, and we made some tweaks that are even more insane, and I'm super excited about it. So let's break down this deck. Alright, so shout out to YUKFOOZi for submitting this one. This is another YUKBRUZi, and it's pretty exciting. So the idea at the core of the deck is we're trying to bring creatures back with pull from push and pull. So push, 2 mana, destroy target tapped creature, sorcery speed. Pull, 6 mana sorcery, put up to 2 target creature cards from a single graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. They gain haste until end of turn. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. So the idea here is we're trying to pull off, no pun intended, as much value as possible from casting pull, and we're also trying to cast it as soon as we can. The way we can get value off pull, since we are having to sacrifice the creatures we get back at the beginning of the next end step, is creatures that have really big ETB triggers. So we're using 3 Etalis so that when it enters the battlefield, we get to exile and play the top of, you know, their deck and our deck, so that even if we sacrifice the Etali on the backside of pull here, we still get the value that the Etali provided, and we also get haste, which means the Etali is able to swing in for 7 that turn as well. And in similar fashion, we're also using the Trumpeting Carnosaur, because that will also get haste and be able to swing in. And it also discovers 5, which means even though we have to sacrifice this at the end of the turn, we get to find something else that costs 5 or less and play it as well. Sometimes that's going to be another reanimation spell, and it can get kind of wild. So that's mostly what we're going for with the pull here. But then to speed it up to make sure we can cast it sooner, we actually have 4 times Invoke Calamity, because for 5 mana, this lets us cast up to 2 instant and or sorcery spells with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard or your hand. So what's cool here is if your push-pull is still in your hand, you can cast this in order to cast pull as a 6 mana spell for only the 5 mana it takes to cast the Invoke Calamity itself. But what's even cooler is we can cast push as a removal spell earlier in the game, and then push and pulls in our graveyard so that later we can cast Invoke Calamity to just play pull from our graveyard. That way we're able to use both sides of this and still use the removal part of this early in the game as we're curving out, and then still get the pull later on from Invoke Calamity, not only out of the graveyard, but also a turn sooner because we get to play the Invoke Calamity for 5 mana. So super, super cool. We've also got Kylox here, Visionary Inventor. 4/4 Menace Ward 2 Haste for 7 mana. When he enters, or rather when he attacks, you sacrifice any number of other creatures, and then exile the top X cards of your library, where X is their total power, and you may cast any number of instant and or sorcery spells from among the exiled cards without paying their mana costs. So the idea here is, since pull brings back 2 creatures, if one of them is a Kylox, and the other one is one of our value creatures, like an Etali or a Carnosaur or whatever, we can then swing with both, and if we want to, we can immediately sacrifice the other creature to the Kylox, which it's going to die at end of turn anyway if we brought it back with pull. And then we get to look at probably the top 7 cards of our deck, cast any number of instants or sorceries for free, which means we could hit more copies of push pull or some of our other reanimation spells, or even some of our other instants and sorceries that we'll get to in just a little bit. So I think Kylox is a perfect inclusion here for a kind of reanimator deck where most of the time you're being able to get 2 creatures at the same time, because you're always going to have something to sacrifice to Kylox, but you're also not going to have any reason really to not sack it to Kylox, other than just wanting to swing through and get through for the extra damage, because it's going to be sacrificed at end of turn anyway. So tons of value to be had here. Let's go back to the beginning of the curve and talk about the beginning of the curve. In addition to push as a 2-mana removal spell, we have 4 copies of Virtue of Persistence. Now this is for a couple reasons. First of all, it's a nice early piece of removal, -3/-3 and gain 2 life, right? Also, we can play it later as more reanimation if we get to, the mid to late game and we just need to pull out a win against our opponent. But what's also cool about Virtue of Persistence is, since it costs 7 mana, if we're discovering with Carnosaur, we're never going to have to worry about running into it. But also, there's another cool combo we can do with Virtue of Persistence, and that involves our 4-drop, the card in our 4-drop slot, and we'll get to that in just a minute. We've also got 1 Irencrag because it also helps ramp us to doing, the reanimation stuff a whole turn earlier. And then we've got 1 Buried Treasure. Now, we didn't want to go too crazy with how many of these we included, because we can find them when we discover, and we want to kind of like mitigate that. We want to sort of make it so that happens consistently, as little as possible. But being able to cast Buried Treasure on turn 2 to ramp us into reanimation, and then later on we can exile it for 5 mana from the graveyard to discover 5 to hit one of our reanimation spells, is pretty interesting. So I'm including 1 copy here to test out. I think it's worth the inclusion. I think it's a really interesting sort of slant, and it's worth noting that we can sack the Buried Treasure for a mana when we have 4 lands out, so we really only need 4 mana, and we can use all 5 of the mana to then exile the treasure from the graveyard to discover 5 if we want. So in a way, we can discover 5 earlier on turn 4, or sometimes turn 3 if we have a little extra ramp, so kind of wild. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, we have 4 Phyrexian Fleshgorgers, can come down, stall out, gain us life, trade with an opponent's creature, and then when it goes to the graveyard, it's there to be brought back as a 7/5 menace lifelink, probably with haste. So it kind of serves all the functions that the deck is looking for, being this supplemental extra creature that we can bring back from the graveyard if we don't have our biggest hits. And then also the Carnosaur itself can be channeled for 3 mana to deal 3 damage to something, so we're able to use this on turn 3 as a removal spell to keep the board clear, to drag out the game, and then when we do that, this thing is discarded and just sitting in our graveyard and ready to be brought back with our reanimation spells. So it's perfect card to fill both kind of ends of the spectrum. Moving on to our 4-drop slot, we've got 4 times Big Score. Now, this is going to discard 1 card, draw us 2 cards, and create 2 treasure tokens for 4 mana. And that's kind of everything we want, right? Because we can get one of our key cards into the graveyard that we want to reanimate, and then also dig for our reanimation spells while giving us some extra treasure to ramp if we need to. Sometimes we can hang on to that treasure until we're out of reanimation spells, and then hardcast some of these threats, which is really nice as well. But there's another little secret mode here with Big Score, where if we cast Invoke Calamity and we target Big Score and we have a Virtue of Persistence in our hand and we target the Virtue of Persistence, what we're able to do, you can actually line it up so that the Big Score resolves first. You discard the Virtue of Persistence to the Big Score, and then when Virtue of Persistence is in the graveyard, Invoke Calamity can grab the other 2 mana worth of spell to play for free because you already used 4 of it. And it can actually play the adventure side of Virtue of Persistence for 2 mana. And, you know, use it as removal. And then it gets exiled still and sits in exile, able to be cast as the actual 7 mana enchantment later on. So if you do it like that and you line it up that way, it's almost like with Big Score you don't have to discard a card, because the thing that you're discarding is the thing you would have played for free from your hand, but Invoke Calamity just lets you play it from the graveyard anyway. So functionally, it's almost like you don't have to discard a card to Big Score, and you just get to play Big Score for free and a Virtue of Persistence from your hand for free, and not have to discard a card, which is, like, functionally, that's how it kind of works. That's how it feels, and it's actually super, super interesting. Moving on to our 5-drop slots, we've got 3 Deadly Cover-Ups. This is a great sweeper, and a lot of times when we're discovering, we can find this, and what's great about Discover is we don't have to play it, right? If we hit this off a Discover 5, we can put it into our hand if our board state is better than our opponent's. But if we're behind and we need to catch up, if we're against aggro or whatever, we can just cast it for free as well off the Discover 5, wipe the board, and then maybe even collect evidence 6, get rid of a Big Score and another card, or 2 Big Scores, or whatever the case may be, and then just get rid of their worst threat and make sure all copies of it are gone from the deck. So that can be a really good hit as well, and you'd be surprised how often this actually comes up in the games and actually matters. We've also got 1 It Doesn't Add Up as supplemental reanimation. Instant speed, returns a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, and you suspect it. This is cool because Invoke Calamity's instant speed as well. It gives us some instant speed options as far as getting things into play. And what's cool about instant speed, especially with Invoke Calamity here, we can, at the end of our opponent's turn, Invoke Calamity, replay Pull, and grab 2 creatures from our graveyard. And they won't leave until our next end step, till the next end step triggers. So they actually stay in play, and then we get to untap with all of our mana with them in play, and then they can still swing in. So there's some really cool stuff you can do with that, which is really awesome. We've also got Wake to Slaughter as another supplemental reanimation spell, and this one's actually better than I expected it to be. So 5 mana, you choose 2 target creatures in your graveyard, and an opponent chooses one of them to put back in your hand, and the other one goes onto the battlefield and gains haste. The fact that whichever one goes on the battlefield gains haste is key. That's what kind of puts it on par with Pull. Granted, they're not both going onto the battlefield, but the one that doesn't go onto the battlefield comes back to our hand, and we can cast it on a later turn, and we don't have to worry about sacrificing it at end of turn if it was brought into play with a Pull. So, really cool way of still getting the value of 2 creatures, even though only one of them is going to be immediate, but we still get that haste, and most of our creatures are going to give us value, and it's kind of a screwed if they do, screwed if they don't situation, where it doesn't matter which creature that they pick, it's going to be problematic for them, right? We can also flash it back for 6 mana, which is also really cool. Sometimes we'll just play it from the graveyard with Invoke Calamity, and we won't get to use that flashback. But sometimes if we've already run through our Invoke Calamities, and we just need some extra gas, we can flash this back out of the graveyard, and it's really awesome. And then we've got just 1 copy of Chimil at the top end as well, because this is just something we can play that helps us get around counterspells and stuff in the late game, but more importantly than that, it's going to discover 5 at the end of our turn every turn, so it can help us constantly just jam reanimation spells until eventually something sticks and we're able to get through and take the opponent out. So just one Chimil at the top end, I really like personally. But the dream is to get to Kylox. If we can get Kylox out with another creature, there's just tons of value to be had there, and I think it's super cool. In the mana base, we do have 2 Xander's Lounge on the off chance that maybe we need to hard cast a Kylox, but 99 times out of 100, we're just trying to reanimate it. We don't need to worry about that, but the extra little bit of blue mana is there. We're also running 1 Field of Ruin, 4 Sulfurous Springs, 1 Restless Vents, 3 Raucous Theaters, because surveilling into our graveyard is really good in this deck, 4 Haunted Ridge, 4 Blackcleave Cliffs, 1 Sokenzin, 1 Takenuma, 1 Mountain, 1 Swamp, mostly a Rakdos brew here, and it's super fun. So I'm not even going to drag this out any longer. Thank you, YUKFOOZi, for the brew. This one's rad. Let's get to the games. Alright, we're going to try this. We'll keep it. We need the buried treasure. On the offhand that we top deck an untapped land, it will let us play the big score. Oh, there goes our big score. It's the only correct play. Raucous Theater. Pass turn. I'm gonna keep this a surprise again. As much as I'd like to surveil, I don't want him to have 0 questions about what is in our hand. Might as well. Not going to be able to play it next turn. That's okay. Deadly cover-up. Sure. We can always Calamity it if we need to. Really don't care about 1 damage here. Drop the Etali. Draw some cards, make some treasures. Play a land. Pass the turn. That's 7 mana next turn. Sheoldred. I think what we want to do is just Trumpeting Carnosaur and try to hit something relevant. Seems fine to me. Oh, we've got Deadly Cover-Up. Sees the Deadly Cover-Up. Probably stays away from putting more creatures onto the field. Okay, I lied. So, we don't take the turn to get Chimil out. Sure. Again, we just don't have any of the reanimation spells, which seems to be the biggest problem. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna try and Buried Treasure. Okay, well, that was kind of wasteful. I'll try this. We'll discard the Fleshgorger. Alright, fine, fine, you win. You win. Use all my damn treasures. I'll get rid of... Probably want to keep that just in case. A Carnosaur. And then we'll get rid of every deep cavern bat because they're terrifying. Alright, so he's got Amalia, he's got Voice of the Blessed, he's got 2 Sheoldreds. So he definitely plays Sheoldred first. We're like so close and just not quite there. All right. Can we get there now? Sick. Fleshgorger, Virtue, go. I think this might do it. Can't block, so I'm just dead. Right? Oh, nope. I can actually survive this. Can't big score, but we can cover up. And then collect evidence 6 with you, wipe, And then get rid of every Sheoldred. And he scoops! He thought he had me. This looks great. We're going to keep it. We're going to lead with the Raucous Theater. Etali's going in the yard. Sounds good to me. Insight, outsight, who gives a shit? Virtue of persistence. Goodbye, Mr. Mono Red. You can take that to the bank. Alright, we got a Feldon. Do you has Lightning Strike, sir? Kamano. I will block that thing all day. I don't care what you cast. I don't care what spells you draw. If I'm gaining life and killing your Feldon, I am happy. So you do what you gotta do. $19 against Mono Red. No problem. He's got a Godric and a Lightning Strike here. What's he gonna take? Takes the Lightning Strike. He says, go. We got nothing. We got a whole lot of nothing till next turn. But next turn, boy howdy. Next turn, boy howdy. Oh boy. Hello, friend. Game over? Cast any number of spells from among them. Sure. Discard. Sure. Sure. I'll just do that. Let's bottom you. Swing for 14. Seems fine. Stuff goes back to the graveyard so we can do it again. It's whatever. We're still at 20 because of Fleshgorger. Well, the gross part is they don't get exiled after. They just get sacrificed, right? Yeah, that's the part that makes them crazy. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Oh right, my thing's exiled. I should have done that differently. It's okay though. We can still do that. Either way, he's dead. No matter which one he puts into play with the Wake to Slaughter. I think the Wake to Slaughter might be better because of the haste. The only thing is with the Wake to Slaughter, you need to make sure... Alright, this looks like a solid hand. I'd like a third mana, but I'll take it. 1k channel points down the drain. Yes. Well, if you were paying attention at the beginning of the stream, I said whoever's got redemptions, do them now so we can so I don't have to get interrupted when I'm trying to do the deck tech. And you were here for the beginning because I saw you posting. So you're gonna have to wait until I'm done with this deck, and then we'll look at it before we go to the next deck. All right, I'm gonna keep this. It's nobody's fault but your own. Yai. Yai. Hello, Yai. Blackcleave be cliffin'. Hi, I want to play the game. I just want to play the game. I don't really have a lot of time to look at the screen and not be playing the game. Thank you. You make me wait and you play a Rot Priest? What kind of awful human being are you? Can't believe I'm about to push a Rot Priest. You know it. You know it. Alright, so now you're just gonna proliferate me forever. Looks like we have to speed our way to a win quick here. Let's see if we can do it. Delny. Who plays Delny? There will be none of that. Spirited Companion. What a weird deck. I guess it's like a Delny Ivy deck? I don't know, man. It's bizarre. Let's dump the cliffs. We don't need them. They're gonna come into play tapped. 𝒀𝑗. Delny. So spicy. So much spice. Have you ever spiced? Spice of your life. We are ready next turn. We are ready. I could Virtue of Persistence. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I think we gotta kill the other Delver. Not really worried about the other stuff, to be honest. Alright, so next turn, we invoke Calamity into a pull. Send an Etali and a Carnosaur his way. That seems gross. Sure. So that's 2 poison counters. Draw the card. Kinda just like have to win, right? You just like have to win. Invoking Calamity. It's time to pull. We can put you at 6. Carnosaur. Counter target spell unless the controller pays 2. Decline. We will Carnosaur. Ooh, deadly cover up. Is it worth it to not swing? To kill everything? We're not going to kill him this turn. I think we got to do it. I think we got to do it. I don't love it, but I think we got to do it. And then we'll get rid of every Rot Priest. Goodbye, Rot Priest. Goodbye, Rot Priest. Goodbye, Rot Priest. You can keep your Ivy. That's it. That's all. That's all you get. You get nothing. Nothing else. Just that. Just that and nothing. Yes! Ha-ha! This is a little weird, but pretty much draw it into anything, we're fine, right? I think I'm gonna keep it. We just need to draw into some stuff. Should be okay. Chicago. Guess we'll go like this. If we can only put one in the yard, we want it to be Etali. Kylox is only good when we get a second creature into play. Next turn, we're going to Carnosaur, I'm pretty sure. Alright, here we go. Opponent is a little screwed on mana, but it is what it is. Grab Etali here. Wow. Do we have any creatures in our yard? No. That's unfortunate. That just stays exiled if we don't cast it, right? So we'll just submit 2 so that we can have it, submit 0 rather, so we can at least have it in our graveyard. I think that makes sense. Right? Yeah, that makes sense. And he scoops. We'll keep this. Granted, we don't have any 2-drops, but the theater can help us surveil, which can find us either our 2-drop or our 3rd land. If it wasn't for us having the theater, I wouldn't have kept this. Alright, theater. We do have a 3rd land, so we just want to find a 2-drop at this point. We'll dump that. Hope no sun falls? Yeah, pretty much. Oh god. Flash is in a mastermind. Not pumped. Alright, do we Carnosaur the mastermind? Didn't play the Gix first. That's kind of weird. Do we get the Fleshgorger out? Or do we Carnosaur the Gix? I mean, I think we just Fleshgorger and offer the trade. We want it in our graveyard, and we don't have a way to discard it right now. Next turn we will, but we want to discard better things to the big score. I know you were, Chunky. Alright, we're back up to 19. Gix is gone. Fleshgorger's in our yard. Feels pretty good. Oh, of course. Of course you play 𝑑𝑒𝑐𝑘 the turn before I want to play my goddamn big score. I mean, we have to, right? We have to. Discard Etali. Oh, we only have to discard one. Discard Etali. Ow, ow. So we're going to 5. Maybe even less. We could invoke Calamity. It doesn't add up. But I don't know, man. That's rough. Like, the suspect is gonna kill us. I could just double discard Carnosaur to kill 𝑑𝑒𝑐𝑘. No. It's rough though. We're gonna hope we hit the right thing off the Carnosaur here. Right there with you, 𝒀𝑜𝑍i. Oh god. Six mana worth of stuff. We don't want to draw. Hit Etali. Hey, what's up, Jaffer? Ludwig. Maybe. Beethoven. I think we gotta kill something, right? And gain the life? Crap. Hold on. It's too late, isn't it? It's too late. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. I should have just played out the Virtue of Persistence and cut down. Although the 2 life might end up mattering, so maybe it wasn't wrong. Let's surveil. We don't need an Irencrag. Alright, we got the boys. Can we survive long enough because of the boys? We know we're taking 3 from the Cryptic Coat, 2, and then 2 again. So we have to kill 𝑑𝑒𝑐𝑘 before we draw. Do we have a way to do that? We can cycle a Carnosaur. No, I don't think so. I think we're out of luck, guys. Oh, he's not attacking with the Cryptic Coat. Did he forget that it's unblockable? Dude, he must have. Yeah, you're right, Chunky. That would have been great. That would have been great. Oh god, we've got Deadly Cover Up. We've got Deadly Cover Up, guys. We can't block everything next turn anyway. So we're just going to do this and then hope our deadly cover-up is able to slip through and he doesn't have a counter waiting for it. It's very, very possible he has Make Disappear. Come on, man. I got people watching me. What are you doing? What are you doing salt roping me? What's going on, Krebs? Games are going decently, my friend. Pretty sure we still cover up. And we will exile big score Irencrag. Does he have the counter? Does he have the counter? He might have the counter. Hello? Or he just ran away. He might have ran away. Alright, we're gonna get rid of all of the Sheoldreds ever. 2 in your library, none in your hand. There will be no Sheoldreds. Okay, we got a Preacher. Wake to Slaughter. That's a pretty good one. You know what? Let's do it. Make a decision, boyo. Go for the throat or Fleshgorger. If we had 2 mana left over, I would do go for the throat, I think. But we'll do Fleshgorger here. And then, oh, we got to go for the throat off of him. So. Although we are going to lose, aren't we? I guess it depends on if he read his card yet. Did you read your card yet? Did not. There have been no cards read. Thank you very much. Who reads cards? Not Ludwig, that's for sure. Oh god, a deadly cover-up? We're gonna decline that. I would rather swing and gain 7 life with the Fleshgorger. Right? Right, guys? Read the cards. Reading the cards explains the cards. Reading the cards explains the cards. Come on. Alright. We should not have won that one. We're gonna try and keep this. Start with the theater. You know what? I'm okay with that. Let's keep that. Alright, we'll go Field of Ruin. Skibble bobble. Skibble bobble beeble. Let's get rid of that Lord Skitter, thank you very much. We need to keep our graveyard. What's up, DJ? Opponent hits us for 1. Not very much we can do here. Might as well do this, so there's no reason not to. And then we can, if we're desperate, if we still can't do anything next turn, we can at least push the Preacher. Wow. Okay. Wild. Raucous Theater. We'll dump you. And then we'll pull you. Or, sorry, push you. What I love is that you can use push early, and then the pull's just in the graveyard waiting for you. So that when you invoke, you can grab it. Alright, he's got a Chimil. We need to fight his Chimil with our Chimil. Right? We need more creatures in the yard. Deadly cover-up, sure. Well, I guess we need to match your Chimil with our own Chimil then. Because if you're just going to be killing everything we put out, we don't want to be wasting our card advantage. If possible. I guess we probably... What do we have in our graveyard? We have a Kylox. Too late to trigger it though, right? It does have Ward 2. It's either big score, or it doesn't add up for our Kylox to force him to use his removal. I think it's better to save that. Let's just do big score. We'll discard a Virtue. I want to be able to hardcast the Carnosaur and then replay it from the graveyard, because we have to get through his removal. If that makes any sense. Deadly cover-up. Exiles. Let me see what he exiled. Oh, the Kyloxes. That's lame. He got our Kyloxes. But at least we forced him to use his sweeper. Cruelty. Carnosaur. That's so rude. That's so rude. It's okay though. We'll do that. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Guys, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. We're gonna save our treasures. We're gonna pass. See what we hit with Chimil. An Irencrag! That's what we wanted. It's fine. Everything will be fine. Calm down, chat. Just calm down. Getting crazy. Everything is going according to plan. We're just a little delayed. We could play Invoke Calamity at instant speed. During end step? Do we have 2 creatures to get? No, we only have the Carnosaur. Still might be worth it. What do you guys think? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because it's gonna be fun. That's why. We're gonna save the pull though. We're gonna get it doesn't add up. Show me what you've got. That's fine. It's time to discover. Oh god. Oh god. Now what do we do? Just do that. Right? Just do that. That seems fine. That seems fine. Then we'll do this. Etali! Decline. We would like the mana, thank you. Let's do it. Chapter 1. Nothing. Chimil! We'll put that in hand, thank you. Another Carnosaur. Taking my Carnosaur. Taking my Carnosaur. How dare you? How dare you take my Carnosaur? That was rude. We will draw. We will search up. Push pull. We will play Deadly Cover Up. We will exile something that costs 6 or more. I'm just going to do 2 big scores here. We want to keep the other stuff. Alright, so our Carnosaur goes back, which is nice. And then I'm pretty sure we just get rid of all the Sheoldreds. Goodbye, Sheoldred. Hashtag fuck Sheoldred. Right? We might as well do this. We need it out so our opponent kills it so that it's in the graveyard. Right? That's what I'm thinking. Big score. We'll put Etali in the graveyard. Alright. Here we are. Deadly cover up. He'll get rid of what? All of our Etalis, maybe? Maybe I should have put the Fleshgorger in the graveyard. It's fine though. We have enough stuff. He's almost definitely exiling Etali though. Carnosaur, Fleshgorger. Lord Skitter, you are a bastard. Stop being so lucky. Stop being so lucky. We have 10 mana. We need things in our graveyard. We're gonna do this. Deadly cover. I mean, yeah, sure. We'll exile Big Score and Deadly Cover Up. Fleshgorger didn't have haste, so let's get rid of the Lord Skitter. I'm sick of dealing with it. Oh, there's no more. Okay, okay. Okay, okay. Alright, we got a Fleshgorger in the yard. So we don't want to wake the slaughter. I guess we'll just play a Fleshgorger out. Try and get it into the yard again. And end the turn. Invoke Calamity. There isn't really anything we can do, right? We got one Fleshgorger in the yard. It'd be a waste to wake to slaughter here. I also don't have anything to Virtue of Persistence. We're just gonna decline. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Edict. That's fine. We're gonna run him out of removal soon enough. Discover 5 and Sheoldred. Nine, 10, 11 mana. So first of all, we need to kill the Sheoldred. Then we need to do stuff. No one artifact. So, I'm gonna start with this. We're gonna exile. Ugh. Maybe we don't do that. Yeah, we're not gonna exile anything. We're going to do that to kill the Sheoldred. And then we're going to put both of our Fleshgorgers into play. I'm not even worried about finding a different creature because he's only got Go for the Throat, which cannot target those. Alright, so we're going to do it like that. We're going to swing for 14. Put him at 14, put us at 32. And then put our Fleshgorgers back in the graveyard so that we can do more shenanigans next turn. Oh, we are out of things to discover.
Enough with the
Alright,
mysteries.
we've got a Lily.
I've come for answers.
Alright, 2 Fleshgorgers again. Do we kill the Lily or do we smack our opponent in the head? I think we just swing in. Five mana. We replay the Fleshgorger. Force him to downtick his Lily. End the turn. We are out of things to discover, which is kind of bizarre. Come on, Telmateth. I think we need to just start slamming Virtue of Persistence. All of the Fleshgorgers are gone. Wild. We have nothing left to discover 5 with the Carnosaur either, which is rough. Oof. Not looking good, guys. We're just, we're out of gas. We have nothing left to discover. I think we have to just start slamming these Virtue of Persistences and start taking his creatures. It's really our only chance, right? Gonna uptick and make us discard anyway, right? So I think we're just gonna gain some life. Alright, pass the turn. We just have to start putting that Virtue of Persistence to work. Because we are out of gas. But we can grab a Sheoldred, make him sack his Sheoldred. And then we can flip the Sheoldred. Potentially. No, he flipped his. Interesting. Oh, you jerk off. He really just doesn't want to let us win. One short. And let's see, we got a Carnosaur. Yeah, we've only got a Carnosaur. We need at least one other creature before we can really use Wake to Slaughter effectively. We know we've got more in the deck. I think we've got 2 Trumpeting Carnosaurs left. And they both just got milled. Alright, this is gonna get kind of crazy. We're about to lose, aren't we? If he exiles all our Trumpeting Carnosaurs. We just don't have any creatures left. We have 0 creatures left. Zero creatures left, guys. 0. Let's see. Do we flip this before he go for the 𝑇ℎ𝑒𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ? Probably not. Down to 3 cards in our deck. Jeez Louise. He's just gonna kill it in response when we go to flip it. So it doesn't make any sense to flip it at all. All we have is 2 lands and a push-pull left. And his creatures. Non-token creature or planeswalker. And then he's gonna flip it again. Yeah, we only have access to Sheoldred, and he's just gonna keep killing it.
Fight? And you think you can win?
I think that's it, boys and girls. Kills it in response. Oh shit, it comes into play on his side? Under its owner's control. Well, shit. Let's just scoop. This game's over. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.